Protest leaders are organising what they hope will be a million-strong march demanding a civilian-led government. The military junta has warned that no damage or destruction will be tolerated during the protests. Remember, more than 100 people were killed on June 3rd when security forces opened fire to disperse the demonstrators. More from Hiba Morgan.
A show of defiance and determination in this neighborhood in Sudan's capital, Khartoum. Protesters are calling on people to mobilize for a major protest called for by the opposition coalition dubbed a Millions March on Sunday.
Our rally here is part of the Ondurman demonstration. It is a calling for the demonstration on the 30th of June. We're not letting go of any of the revolution's demands. Hopefully, the government would be a civilian one for every last citizen.
It's said to be the first major protests after the military forcefully broke up a months-long pro-democracy sit-in at army headquarters in the capital at the beginning of the month. The Sudan Central Doctors Committee says more than 120 people were killed that day. The government states a much lower figure of 61. Sunday's protests is meant to coincide with the end of the African Union deadline for the ruling military junta to hand over power, as well as the 30th anniversary of the 1989 coup by former President Omar al-Bashir, who was himself overthrown in a military coup in April. On Saturday, the Sudanese Professionals Association, which has been leading the calls for protest since December, said the military raided their offices and prevented them from holding a press conference, as an internet blackout continues for the third week.
Internet services are being blocked. Any form of communication between SPA and the public is being abruptly stopped. This is not a show of goodwill in any manner. It's obvious that they are worried about tomorrow's march, but we are confident that tomorrow's march is going to be a big march, and we are confident in the Sudanese people. The problem is that they are trying to block out our voices out to the world and prevent any form of communication.
Talks between the military junta and the opposition coalition known as the Forces of Freedom and Change are yet to resume. An Ethiopian mediation proposal backed by the AU has been agreed to by the opposition coalition. The military junta said they also accepted, but with reservations, and that any violence that occurs during protests will not be tolerated.
We wish to have, as soon as possible, a government that is accepted by all Sudanese people. I want to say to those who called for more massive demonstrations that we are not against the people, and we are not against peace, but we have to understand that infiltrators and saboteurs are there and are willing to apply their hidden agendas. We don't need troubles and don't need rifts.
Protesters say the statements are a threat to scare them and a warning of violence to come. But they say that won't stop them from holding a million-people march, and that no force will stop them from seeing their demand of a civilian government become a reality. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera.